Hey, Flowmies, it's time for another edition of the ITF Flowcast. So this week we get to interview one of our favorites, Randi Tieken. She is the owner of a window clean supply, and she's going to be talking with Kevin Hargis and Kory Kevin, two of our mods in the ITF group. And they're going to have a very wide-ranging discussion. They're going to talk a lot about just kind of how you deal with a difficult economy like this. We know both Kevin and Randi have seen several of those as business owners. And so, what things do you do when you're dealing with such high gas prices and you're trying to make sure you tighten your belt as well as you can? So they're going to cover those types of things. They're also going to talk about just crew dynamics, different things of how you can keep the harmony within your crew. Randi's going to share a lot about what things she's benefited from the IWCA and how you can learn from the different tools that they have available to members, and just a lot of different things. They're going to catch up. She's always a person who has a lot to share and wants to definitely help people with the knowledge that she's gained. So you guys are going to really enjoy it. So now let's give our attention to the interview.
All right. So we are here with another edition of the ITF Flowcast, and we've got some really special guests tonight and some great topics to talk about. So you all know Kory, one of the moderators on Into the Flow. He'll be with us tonight. And then the wonderful, doesn't need an introduction, but we're going to do it anyway, Randi from Window Magic Supply out in California. How you guys doing?
Plugging along.
Awesome. We're doing the same thing here.
Doing well on the East Coast.
Good deal.
Yeah, we're ready for spring over here.
So we kind of hit just about all parts of the country here because Kory's on the East Coast, Randi's on the West Coast, and I'm in Michigan. So we're not quite middle of the country, but we got just about everything covered here. So we're gonna just kind of shoot some ideas and thoughts. I think one of the things that we want to talk about first, because it's a subject that's on everybody's mind right now. Where are we going with the economy, and how's it going to affect our business? How is it already affecting your business? And what ideas can we come up with to try and weather the storm so that we make sure we're there on the other side and that we can be profitable in the meantime? So, I'll start with just, we've seen the gas price increase, and then that starts, trickling into other things. We're fortunate here that we do a lot of medical work, so we really haven't seen any decreases yet, but on a residential side, we certainly know that could be coming. So, we're trying to make some small changes so far, and I think the changes that we're looking at right now are more on the being more frugal side. So when the economy is great, I think we kind of take things for granted. Would you guys agree? Oh, I want this new pole. I want this new tool. I want to go on this vacation. I'm gonna do this. I want to do that. And the money's there, so we're not really thinking about it. So now what we're doing is just kind of, okay, what do we got? What do we want to spend? What do we need to spend? And what can we do to just kind of save that whole penny save, penny earn kind of thing? So how about you guys? What are your thoughts?
I'll let you roll first, Randi. Ladies first.
Okay, thanks, Kory. Yeah, we started business 1986, and we've weathered a few storms. And I agree with you, Kevin. You have to get really to reevaluate. And I know for us, because we still have a small window cleaning business, and really going, what value can we bring our customers? What is something that they need? Because the thing that gets cut first always are the luxury items like window cleaning, if it's a residential thing, even commercial. And I remember in 2008, I didn't have the Window Magic Supply yet. And I'd go into the bank and I'd just have a few little checks, and I remember the lady at the bank saying, you know what, be grateful you still have a business. There's a lot of people that have completely lost their business. But in 2008, we bought a little screen repair shop. And I think, doing things that people are going to need. There are products that you could offer screen restoration, like the Winsol screen. The stuff that, okay, this is going to add a little bit of life to your screens, gutter cleaning, we got to keep your downspouts good, and all those things that a lot of times you don't like doing when, everything's flowing so good, but we really had to get creative. And, like Kevin said, also hunkering down. And another good thing that we have done that's really helped us, and I think it benefits everybody in the area, is we looked at accounts and where they were located. And I don't want to monopolize the whole conversation, but we would pick our successful commercial customers' brains and ask them, do you have any advice for us? Ones that have weathered a few storms. And I remember one guy, he was they made glass, and he installed it. And he said, don't forget your little customers. He goes, everybody wants to go after the big customers. He goes, and then when things, when you have a little downturn, one customer that you lose is huge. He goes, but so don't keep all your eggs in one basket, have some mom and pop shops, have, a sprinkling across the board so that you do have enough work to kind of keep when it gets down to the bare bones. I'm not saying it's going to get down to bare bones, but just having a plan in place like that.
Yep.
So
those are all really good ideas. As a company, we're very diversified in what we do. So even if window cleaning slows down a little bit, we have some things to fall back on, but not everybody has that.
Right.
Yeah. And that's a big thing. And it's not the exact same situation, but 2 years ago when the pandemic hit, you had to kind of get creative. You were forced to do the same thing because a lot of people were hunkered down at home. They were a little hesitant about, do we want to let people in our house? And my bread and butter is window cleaning. It's always been. I've done power washing. I've done gutter cleaning. I don't like doing those things, but I have the experience and the skill to do it and the tools to do it. So when the pandemic hit and I was doing mostly exterior only window cleaning, I'm like, all right, I need to pivot a little bit here to figure out how I'm going to maximize my business and my service to my clients while maintaining, social distancing. People don't want you in their house. So now I'm a little bit more marketing the power washing, marketing the gutter cleaning. All right, I need to make more money. I need to provide more services to my clients. I needed to diversify, like you said. You have to be able to pivot. You have to be willing to make a few changes and a few adjustments. Like I said, I love window cleaning. I absolutely hate power washing. I hate it. But in that situation and in situations like we're going into now, if people are a little bit more, maybe you're only getting out of 10 clients that you've had every year, maybe you're only getting 7 of them. So you need to kind of boost yourself a little bit. So maybe you can sell, of the 7 clients that you get, maybe you can sell a gutter cleaning, maybe you can sell a power washing, and then you're boosting your jobs and your income back to where you need it to be. So diversifying is definitely a huge thing to survive these. And one other big thing that I did, and I started doing this years ago, was when I started my business, I was a solo operator. And I would travel. I live right on a state line. I live right on Connecticut, Rhode Island state line. And I would travel 3 or 4 towns in either direction along the shoreline. And I would just fill that schedule, first come, first serve, whatever job's called, I would fill that schedule, whatever it was. So I might be 3 or 4 towns into Connecticut. And then a job would come up. I don't have anything else for that day. This client requested to be on, first week of June. I'm over here in Rhode Island or in Connecticut. And then I'm filling it in with a job that's 40 minutes away. Yep. And just kind of narrowing down my coverage area. I'm not going to don't fill that in. Just hold that spot for someone else that's in that same area. You want to limit your time traveling, especially with the gas prices the way they are. If you have an employee with you, those prices and those costs they get to be so high. If you're traveling, you're jumping around from job to job that's not anywhere near each other. So you want to keep that service area. If you're in, for my personal situation, if I'm in Connecticut one day, I'm not driving to Rhode Island that same day to fill in the schedule. I'm going to wait until I get another request from Connecticut and fill that day in with that. And if it doesn't happen, so be it. But driving 45 minutes, especially if you have 2 or 3 people in the truck with you, I don't have that personally, but for people that have a lot of employees, the travel time can kill you. If you have 2 or 3 people with you, and on top of the gas costs that are going up, it can just, it can cripple you.
Yeah. You know, I think the things to really focus on are planning and positioning. So if you plan to lose, let's say, 15 or 20% of your customers in a downturn, if the economy went that far, then base your new spending and your new plan off of that 20% loss. And then if you still maintain them, or it isn't that much, you're still good. You're not in the hole. And then the other thing to think about doing is a lot like what you were talking about, Kory, being positioned for the change. So, you know, we did really good in 2020 because we were positioned correctly with the healthcare facilities that we worked for. So when we had to make that pivot and we had to do some different things, we were right there in the forefront. We were basically first on their list, and honestly, there wasn't a whole lot of other people around. And you know, the part of it too is the old saying: "Would you rather be lucky or good?" And sometimes you just rather be lucky. And I think there is some. And actually, I struggled with that a little bit through the pandemic stuff because, you know, I'd sit back and think, well, was I just lucky? Did I just luck into all this? And then after talking to my wife and talking to some other people, we really sat down and looked at it and could understand that we were positioned correctly. So when things changed, we were able to work with that change. Had the pandemic not happened, would we have had the year that we had? Maybe not. But we were planning and positioning to be where we needed to be when changes happen. And we always say that the only constant we have is change. So, you know, think ahead a little bit. And then, you know, like we were all saying, maybe cut back on the travel a little bit, schedule a little bit differently. And a lot of times what I found, so like in 2008, I was still running the big janitorial company. And so, you know, we're talking, you know, we had 160 employees. So we had a lot of things going on. And so you really kind of had to sit down and look at where are we going to be at? What do we need to do so that we can survive this? And it really forces you then also to look at how efficient you are. So we improved a lot of efficiencies, and I've seen a lot of people talking about that. Okay, should we just increase all of our prices right now and because of the gas? And well, maybe, but also at the same time, make sure that you look at yourself and say, okay, well, how can I be more efficient? Maybe getting an extra pole or a few extra tools would make you more efficient on a job. And so your upfront cost is a little bit more, but then as you're working throughout the year, you're going to more than pay for that and save costs and labor. And you can add another job to the day, things like that. So that's one of the things that we did that really helped, was just how can we be more efficient? How can we be more efficient on the job? How can we be more efficient with our time? Kory, like what you were saying, how can you be more efficient with your travel? So again, times like this really make you look.
And another way to be more efficient is getting ahead of everything, positioning. So what I've done this year, more so than any year in the past, is I've reached out to all my clients that I've had in the fall, all the clients that I know usually book in the spring, and I have already scheduled all of them. My entire schedule for the month of April is full. My entire schedule for the month of May is pretty much full. Just being proactive and communicating with my clients to book those jobs in advance. And in the downturn, you might see some clients will shy away, but it's not necessarily a no, but it's, if you don't reach out to them, if you don't kind of give them that wave, like, hey, I'm still here, maybe they'll forget about it and maybe they won't book the job. But if you're getting ahead of it and you're reaching out to everybody on your list and communicating, it's just that little reminder that might be just enough to get them to book if they're a little bit hesitant.
And I think it's a lot harder for somebody to cancel an appointment than to not book it. So if you just didn't call, And maybe it popped into their head in April or May. Hey, I wonder if we should have the windows. We're not really sure what's going on here. Let's just wait on that. If it's already booked, I have to believe that they're a lot less likely to call and say, hey, let's not do the windows.
Yep.
Absolutely.
But again, it's one of those.
Oh, go ahead,
Go
Kory.
ahead, Randy. Sorry. No. Sorry. Go ahead.
It's okay. I was just going to say one thing that I know we really had to do. When I say we, my husband and I, when we were doing this together, is we had to get honest with ourselves about accounts, because there were some accounts that, especially because we would do commercial route work. We do a lot of residential, and then we do, like business buildings and things like that. But the commercial route work, which if you got everything priced right and things are close together, but what happened in 2008 was you get one customer that's going, the one next door wouldn't, like in strip malls. And then we would get sentimental about, oh, well, I don't want to quit doing so-and-so for this much. But we had to get honest with ourselves about really, each account had to stand on its own. And, we would say, let's make friends with our other window cleaners. And I always say, make friends with the other window cleaners in your area, because
Absolutely.
they might have a job that doesn't work for them, because especially with the gas prices now, hey, would you be willing to do this one? Maybe, would you be willing to do that one, as long as it's okay with the customer? But we can't drive 20 miles to do one account that isn't going to be profitable. As sad as it is, but we had to be honest with ourselves, because we lie to ourselves about it.
Yep.
And say, oh yeah, we'll just get more business next week, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was interesting in 2008 when, again, the big janitorial company, we actually increased our minimum job. And that might sound counterproductive to what a downturn economy would look like, where you should decrease your minimum to be able to take on more accounts. But that went back to the being efficient part.
Yeah.
We sat down and analyzed what jobs are we most efficient at. And in that world, it was a little bit different. We were talking about how many days a week, how many people in a building. And we figured out that kind of magic number that we had, that we were not efficient below that, and above that, then it was going to, it might take a little bit more, or it might take an investment to get there. So we had to be careful about how far out in growth we would go. But there was kind of that magic number that said, okay, let's not go below, unless things get really, really crazy. Let's not go below this new minimum, because we're not as efficient at that. And that can work out too. So again, it just goes back to that planning, being aware, thinking ahead, not panicking. Okay. So let's just all go back to the beginning of 2020 and the toilet paper crisis. We don't want to panic.
We still have a couple rolls. We still
we still have a stockpile of toilet paper.
But I think, Kory touched on something with when you have two people in a vehicle. And, we really had to get honest with ourselves about that, because you got two people in a vehicle, and you got to have two people in the vehicle for the right job, because sometimes you're going in the negative. You can't be efficient sometimes.
Yep.
So it's really just reevaluating.
And that was a big thing for me, transitioning from, I operated as a solo technician for years, and I didn't mind a little bit of a drive. I'd eat my lunch on that drive, whatever it was. But when you're doing that drive a couple times a day with a second person, that stress, like, it started to build. Now we get to that next job, and I have a little bit of anxiety built up, because I just paid this person, I was paying hourly. Now I just paid this person, 45 minutes. They didn't eat their lunch while they were driving. I ate the lunch, I ate my lunch while I was driving. Now they get to the job, and I'm going to go sit under this tree and eat now my anxiety is like through the roof. And it was just, you need to be as efficient as you can. I learned that by failure. You need to be as efficient as you can with the scheduling, and more diligent with setting the time for, I always tell them now before we start work, you eat your lunch. If we have a little bit of a drive, eat your lunch on the drive. That's your break.
Yep.
And maybe that's not necessarily the best way to do it, but for me as a business owner and someone who's trying to maximize efficiency, it's the best way to do it. You have that's a break. Don't sit on your phone for the 20-minute ride, if there's a 20-minute ride, and then think you're going to get a half-hour break for lunch, because you're wasting time. It's valuable time, not only for me, but for the client when we get to the job. We have so many jobs to get done in the day. You have to be efficient, and you need to approach this job with the mindset of being as efficient as possible, not just as an owner, but when I hire someone, you have to be efficient as well, and you have to bring that to the table. And if you don't, it's frustrating. It's frustrating to manage people that don't respect the clock.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yep. So position, plan, and look at your efficiency. I think those are the three things that we could do that would have the most effect on things. And again, don't panic. For those of us that have been through a couple of these, it always turns back around. And the other thing to remember is the companies that prepare and plan and are positioned correctly survive it. And there's quite a few that didn't plan ahead. So when things start to turn back around, a lot of times there's a big boom, and you're there to take advantage of it. So if you can weather that storm by being just a little bit better, a little bit more efficient, after everything comes out on the other side, who knows? Sky's the limit.
That's another good point, because a lot of people just give up their business at the downturn and they, take on another type of job. So that's another opportunity to look for, is their jobs not being serviced because the other person went out of business?
Yeah. And that happens to a lot of people. It happens to a lot. I mean, I'm not in a huge area. You're in a much bigger area in San Diego. I'm sure the competition is, you have many more competitors. I mean, in my area, at the most, there was probably 6 to 7 people. But every downturn that I've been through, 1 or 2 of them drop off. Mm-hmm. And there is always an opportunity to pick up on the other end. And what I always did, I always shot myself in the foot, because I try to, I'm going to grow on the back end of this, but I never was able to get my footing enough with the staffing to sustain the growth. But I mean, in a sense, it was good, because I slowly was able to kind of pick and choose. All right, this job's better than some of the jobs I have, and kind of, work my way up with dropping off, trimming the fat a little bit. The jobs you don't want to do, you kind of get rid of, and you're able to grow that way. But every economic downturn, 1 or 2 of these people drop off, and there is an opportunity for growth if you're in the right position.
Yep. And a lot of times the people that drop off, they kept every client they had, or they took new customers at cheaper prices, or they tried to give a deal because they were really, really worried. That goes back to that panic thing. They were really worried about something bad happening, but they were taking low profit or sometimes no profit jobs and would actually start losing money. And then lo and behold, you get into it a little bit farther and their business is failing. So not every job is profitable. And this is back to that being efficient part. There may be some customers that are too far away and you don't make enough money on, that you either raise their price, and if they don't accept it, that you drop that customer.
So be it. Yep.
Yep. And that can actually be better for you in the long run. So
yeah, 100%. 100%.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about the IWCA convention, because we all 3 met in person. We've talked numerous times on phone calls and messaging, but for the first time in February, all 3 of us got a chance to meet in person. So I'm just going to let you guys talk a little bit. And what did you think about the convention? What are some things that you find beneficial from the IWCA and the convention in particular? And what are some of the things that you took away from this convention?
You want me to go first, Kory?
Absolutely. Ladies first.
Well-
I'm a gentleman, Randy. I'm a gentleman.
I
I'm
know
always going to
you
let the ladies
are.
go first.
I know you are. Well, what was neat, this was my first convention as on the supply side as a supplier. We've gone to the convention for years and years and years when as a window cleaning company. And what I loved about it, what I'd always tell other window cleaning companies, go to the convention because you will feel so proud of the profession that you belong to. Because sometimes when you're out there washing windows all by yourself and you're alone with your head a lot or whatever, and then when you get to the convention and you go, oh my gosh, you feel so proud to be, I mean, at least I did, just to be a part of the window cleaning industry, because truly, I always say the sky is the limit, and the education that you get from the classes, the safety, learning about glass, something we're in front of every single day to know what it is that you're doing, the types of glass and everything else, the safety issue, which I think is so important. Networking with other window cleaners and learning things from other people that have been doing it far longer. I don't know. It is just so exhilarating. I had such a great time meeting you guys, meeting so many people out there. It's, usually February for most window cleaners is, one of the slowest times of the year. So it's timed so perfect. I always urge people, if you could do it, do it. And if, it's usually West Coast one year, East Coast another year. So if you, if it's too far away one year, wait till the next and go.
Yep.
So I can't speak highly enough of the window cleaning IWCA. Also, to become a member and you log on and the resources you have, safe, glass waivers and safety trainings. You could have your monthly meetings just based on the information that you're getting off that website. For the amount of money you pay for it, you're getting far more than you could even imagine. So that's my little spiel.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It was awesome. There's no other word for it. That's my first convention. I've known about it for years, but I'm so blessed to be in the age of social media and networking, because I've known about that for years. I started in window cleaning in 2001 as, just a laborer for a guy in the summer. And he knew about the convention and he always talked about it, but he never went either. But I never would have gone on my own without meeting and having the friendships that I have. So for me, it was the biggest part about it was I met this great group of people on Facebook groups and Into the Flow specifically. And a lot of these people went to this convention, and I felt, a really good connection, a really strong connection with a lot of these people. So for me, it was the best part about it was, it sound corny for saying it, but just putting a handshake or a hug, getting a hug from Randy, getting a handshake from you, Kevin, meeting Gabe, meeting Joel, meeting all these people in person, the personal networking. I spent a lot of time with Dan Renard, and just meeting these people in person was the best thing I took away from it on a personal level. The human interaction was the best. Secondly, the resources of learning and figuring out and strategizing how to grow your business and I need to grow my business. I need to grow. I need to learn how to grow better, how to recruit better. And that convention had every resource possible for you to go in and learn how to do everything you want to do. And you only scratch the surface in 1 year. So while this year was a great experience for me in Orlando, there is zero chance I'm missing Vegas next year, and zero chance I'm missing any of them as long as I'm walking and breathing. I'm going to keep going. There was every experience about it was just phenomenal. And if you're a window cleaner, like Randy said, it's just such an exhilarating experience to be able to go, and you feel such a sense of pride to be there. And next year, when I leave, I'm going to be leaving with a second belt for that speed competition. I'm not walking away from there empty-handed next year.
Goals. You got to have them.
No, it's just so much fun. I mean, there's really the balance of the learning and the fun it's unmatched. You know, if you're a professional in any industry and you have an opportunity to do an event like that and have an experience like that, and you have to take it. And I'm kind of kicking myself for not taking advantage of it, you know, in years past. But like I said, without this interaction and the camaraderie we have in this group, I probably never would have done it on my own, but I felt like I had a family there to go visit, and it was such a special thing to do.
Yeah, that's the thing that I've always found from any convention that I went to was the networking that you do and the connections that you make at the convention. The in-person ones, the social media ones are great, but you don't get to put emotion, you don't get to put feeling in the same way. But those connections that you make, you kind of build your own smaller network of people that energize you, that you have as a resource to come back to when you have problems or when you have questions. And it also gives you confidence. So what you were talking about, Kory, you need to grow, but that's a hard thing especially when you go from solo operator, owner operator, and you want to add the first person. That's a huge leap. When you want to add then a crew, that's another huge leap, because you're giving it feels like almost a part of you. You're giving away and putting in someone else's hands. And it's a scary thing when you've built a business and your customers know you and they rely on you, and you don't want to lose that. So having that camaraderie that you build at a convention, and then again, the confidence that you get, and some of that comes from the classes, because you get to hear and learn from, again, people that have been doing it for a really long time and really, really, really know the specific topic that they're talking about. So like, if you want to go and learn about safety, Michael Draper is the best person to learn that. And he does all the safety classes. They did the RDS class. They did the training and the certification for the rope descent. They've been doing it so long, between him and Stephen Bright. They've been doing it so long, and they know so much. It's just, you have all of that information at your fingertips, and then you're just safer. You're more confident, and you're better off when you leave there. So yeah, I agree. I don't plan on missing one, and Vegas, that'll be a lot closer for you, Randy. So you're gonna be able to get to that one a little bit easier.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, there was so much information there. I kind of put all my eggs in one basket, where I wanted to learn the recruiting. I wanted to learn, training things. All my eggs were in the basket of, all right, how do I learn how to grow my business? So every class, I kind of handpicked the classes I wanted to go to just based on that. But there's so much more to learn. The safety stuff, I didn't go to any of the safety meetings. And to be honest, if a safety guy came to one of my jobs, I throw a few flags at me. I take some calculated risks with what I do. And that's one other thing. I've been doing this for so long, and I've been doing it the way that I do it, the way that I know I'm comfortable doing it. But if I hire someone, I would never want to put them, I wouldn't want them to even see me doing some of the things. Right. So I need to make some changes on my end, because I'm never going to be able to grow if I don't make some changes. And not only changes with the way I do it, changes with the way I train, changes with the way I recruit. There's a lot of changes to be made, and it's got to start with me. And that it was so great to be there and to learn how to start, how to get the ball rolling, because it all has to start with me. And
here's what you'll find is every convention that you go to, you're going to likely key in on a particular subject. So for this one, it was that growth and the things surrounding that. Next year, it may be something completely different, because you've kind of now gotten through that one and you're now focused on a different aspect of the business. And you go and you may be very single-minded and you want to get as much information on that process as you can. maybe it'll be safety, maybe it'll be marketing, maybe, who knows? So there's such a wide variety of training and classes that are there that you can do that. And in some ways it's good to do because it is really easy to get information overload. You go to every class that you can and your brain is just buzzing and you've got all these thoughts in your head. And now it's like, oh, okay, now what do I do? I gotta put all this into action. So
yeah, and that's part of the reason why I stuck to pretty much one topic, which is recruiting, training. I try to stick to that because if I did kind of stray to safety, to glass restoration, so all this different stuff, my brain would have gotten overloaded. Yeah. And looking forward already to next year, I'm hoping I can bring a second person with me. And then you can kind of divide and conquer where you focus on one, you don't go to the same class, you split up.
Yep.
And you'll go to different subjects and you'll kind of regroup later on and kind of share some ideas and things. You have two different people, two different brains focused on two different things. And then you're able to regroup, when you come back and you have a little bit more information than you can get just on your own.
Yeah. We brought two people this year. Obviously, Taylor came because she won Window Cleaner of the Year, so she got a free convention pass. And of course, that just blew her mind. She said it was the best experience of her entire life. So that's awesome to see. But then the other guy that came with us, in his past career, he was more of a safety person. So he did a lot of the safety checks, procedures, all the things that surrounded that kind of on an industrial level. So two things I had him focus on. Number one was the safety. So he did some of the safety. Now he didn't have to do any of the RDS stuff because we don't do rope descent, but some of the other safety stuff. And now he's looking at getting on the safety committee for the IWCA just to be able to help out. And then the other was glass restoration because he's fairly new to this business and this industry, but there's another opportunity to diversify. I don't want to be the only one that can do it. So I say, here, go take Cody's class, learn everything you can about glass restoration. Once we get back and take a couple breaths, we're going to sit down and we are going to do some strategic planning and we'll look at what we can do for marketing. We'll look at what we can do. We'll get all the stuff that we need. We'll start practicing and then we're going to make this another niche of the business. So that is some things that you can do if you're going to bring multiple people. The experience is great and it will energize them too as well. But if you can give them some assignments like that and look at that's another opportunity that they may have to grow that just instead of just being that employee, if you give them, hey, look, you're the head of the glass restoration division. Even if that division is only one person to start with, that's fine. That now you're positioning differently, you're planning ahead, and you may be able to give that employee something that they didn't have before. And I've always found throughout the years that the more you can empower people that work for you and work with you, the more you're going to get from them consistently.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say, touching on, Kevin mentioned Taylor and being, that was just so cool how she was Window Cleaner of the Year. And it was such a treat to meet her. But sitting in the Woman in the Industry luncheon, you got to do that. You were in there, weren't you, Kevin? Because you were on the board or no?
No.
Oh, because they mixed the past presidents.
The past presidents. Well. Yeah.
So there was a few men in there.
Had to share the room. Yeah.
Yeah. But I always want to tell people, don't discount hiring a woman as a window cleaner because we've hired some women and I have to say they're very, not to put anybody else down, obviously, but very conscientious. If you can get a woman window cleaner, I don't know. We've just had great success with that. So
I'm with you. Yeah. I have
attest to that.
So my one part-time, and this goes back 10 years. She used to be full-time, but my one employee that stuck with me for 10 years, and she's on a part-time basis now. Best the best person. I mean, I've gone through probably 20 over the course of my 15, 16 years in business by myself, 20 plus. And she's been with me for 10 years. She's a rock star. She's the best. And I coach my daughter's sport teams now. And this is at a young age. You know, she's 8 years old. I've coached her for seasons of sports now. And it's co-ed. The girls are far better at listening and they try harder. They pay more. I mean, the guys, and I was the same way when I was a kid. I just the ball, I want to shoot. That's all I want to do is shoot. And if you're trying to break down, you know, fundamentals of something, the girls are sitting there paying attention to every word you say. And then you watch them execute and they hit every step that you told them to hit. And the guys are just like, just give me the ball, I'm going to shoot. They're not going to do all the middle steps. I 100% agree with you. Don't discount hiring a female, because I think you're going to have a better experience. You know, maybe not every time, but probably 70% of the time, I think a female is they're going to blow you away.
Yeah.
You won't
Adds
be
a lot to the
disappointed.
team. Rounds it out, you know.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with all of that. When I told Taylor that we were doing the Flowcast tonight and that Randy, that you were going to be on, she was like, "Oh, I love Randy."
Oh, and I love her too.
She was so excited to
that.
be. She wears her Window Magic shirt every day at home now.
Oh.
So yeah.
I got mine. I almost put mine on
one.
tonight, but I didn't. I see Kevin. You got the sticker in the background behind you, Kev. I see it.
Yep.
I see the sticker up there, and I got my stickers over here. I got to turn the screen a little bit.
I see your sorb.
It's on the computer over here.
I
got
that's
the Harry Potter.
Yeah, I've got to
That
put
is so
mine
cool.
up somewhere. I haven't got those. Found a good place for
I got
those
more.
yet.
I got a lot of them.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree with all that. Specifically with obviously having my daughter work for me, it changes the dynamic a little bit. However, we are
Could be a little bit more of a.
Oh,
it's a little more challenging working with family sometimes.
It has its days. Let me tell you what, it has its days. Why do I got to do this? Because I'm your boss. Well, I don't care. Well, I'm your dad. Then shut up and go to work.
Even worse, yeah.
But we are currently looking for specifically another woman that hopefully in that kind of range that Taylor's 25, she'll be 26 in July, hopefully kind of in a somewhat close age range. And my goal is to put an all female window cleaner or team out there doing work. And then ultimately the goal is to bring them both to the convention and to have them sweep the speed and medley contest. So,
that'd be so cool.
Yeah.
I would.
And I want them to get so good at it that we have to do a challenge with the male winner and the female winner and see who can actually pull it off. So that's my goal.
You tell them to bring it. You tell them to bring it.
Yeah, if I can get Taylor,
I'm gonna bring my girl. I'm gonna bring my girl Kaylin next year. That works for me now. I'm gonna bring her out.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully, and I know I shared this with you, Kevin. I have a picture window mounted on my basement wall downstairs. I know you saw it, but it's about the same. It's a little bit different size than the speed competition size, but I'm going to put some work in this year. I'll put some hours in. I'll get the technique down. I got disqualified twice. It was a little frustrating, but I'm going to bring it next year. I got the time. I got the setup. I got the time, and I have the determination. So I'm going to hopefully bring a good run next year. And I'm going to get Kayla over here, a couple times throughout the year to give her a little rundown on it. So hopefully she can come and represent.
Yeah,
but it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to that.
That's awesome. The one thing I found out about Kory meeting in person, you do not hide your frustration on your face. You don't hide it. Not even a little bit. Not even let me try. No, I'm frustrated and it shows.
With the speed thing, it was hard the way you had to hold the squeegees.
Yeah,
that's what was hard for me.
Well, So what was hard for me, I practiced. I watched a couple videos and I practiced. I hung that window up, probably 2 weeks before the competition down in my basement, and I practiced it. And I watched a couple of videos and watched how they did it. And I was like, all right, my technique works. This works. But then there's the little details that you don't know until you get there with the disqualifications. And once he disqualified me the first time, it was just like my brain was scrambled. I was like, what did I do wrong? And he's like, all right, here's what you did wrong. And it was like my brain was like, no, I can't, like, this is not going to change now. I can't change this now.
Right.
I can't fix it. And it was Kevin's right on the money. I was frustrated because I put in some time to practice for it. And what I practiced was wrong. So I couldn't hide the frustration. You're right on the money.
Now you got some experience. And there's a video somewhere.
Yep.
I don't remember who took it, but if I'll see if I can find it so I can show it to you. But you can see on, like, I don't remember if it was your first or second run, but your washer was like
I saw it
from the top.
I saw it. It was Ray Valentine took a video from the back the back view. Yep. And that's the way I started, was with the squeegee like slightly above, because it makes more sense to overlap it. And you still get good glide on it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to drop the squeegee down about 1.5 inches, or drop the T-bar down 1.5 inches, and let the squeegee come over the top, and just keep that move the whole way through. And that's what I did. And it was just, even after that first round through, and I knew what I did, I couldn't change it, because that's what I'd practiced for so long. Yeah. So I couldn't get out of that. It was a bad habit that I practiced, and I couldn't fix it in the moment.
And you can't watch any of the European stuff, because they essentially have no rules. Yeah, they have. I
watched that.
So if you watch
that's what drove me nuts, because
and they don't, like, half the glass doesn't even get touched, and it's one of those things where people are like, oh, it's so technical, but it's like, okay, it's a speed cleaning contest. Mm-hmm. To be fair, you have to touch all of the glass. The squeegee is the easy part, because if you miss a spot with a squeegee, and then you're going to get a point taken off, or you get time taken off. But if you're not cleaning the whole thing with the washer, and so again, it kind of gets, I can see where it gets frustrating, because it's like, but
however, I watched this European competition, and that's how they did it.
Well, and they won't come to the States. There's people that from states that have went to Europe for the world belt. And I think the only place they do the World Guinness Book of World Records stuff is over there. So, but they won't come here, because they would lose every time, because they just they don't clean the whole glass. So,
well,
and I think Jeff. Go ahead, Randy.
I was going to say, we used to get some guys from, I think it was Italy, that would always come. Yeah, and they'd win a lot of the time.
Oh, they were super fast. Yeah.
And the guy from Japan.
Yeah, I'm glad they don't come, because we wouldn't stand a chance.
Jeff Likes was there. He didn't compete. Jeff Likes. He's actually, he's pursuing a world record aggressively. He won it a couple of years ago at the IWCA. He went and won the World Cup recently, and him and I have maintained contact since the IWCA. And he has the setup. He actually has he had
one built.
I don't know if it was a custom build.
Yeah, it was
delivered to his house with the framing, put the glass in, and he has the entire setup. Yep. And he practices all the time. I wouldn't be surprised to see Jeff get that world record time this year. He is lightning fast.
Yep.
Wow.
And it's his technique is flawless.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he had that custom built. So, he had it designed, and he found somebody that would manufacture the whole thing. And it's up in their backyard, and that's what they use to practice. And now he uses it for training too, which is great. It serves a double purpose. But he's quick, and with more practice,
and he's determined to do it. And when you see someone that's why I said I don't doubt that he'll get it done, because you see his technique is there, but his determination, like, he's focused on getting it. I think he's going to get it.
Well,
He's going to keep working
Jeff is
towards
a
it
really
until he gets
determined
it.
guy. I mean, that's just his mentality with things. In business and in life, he's a very determined person. And so, yeah,
Yep.
I can totally see him going that route. So
And
how's
just a good, another good person too. I mean, when you,
Yep.
I don't know if everybody's met Jeff, everybody on this chat, I don't know if you met him, Randy.
I haven't, but
he's
I've
a great
seen a lot
guy.
of his posts.
Yep.
Yeah, he's just another good human being, down to earth dude, runs a great business, very successful.
Yeah, him and Megan are great to talk
the
to.
kind of person you.
Yeah, hopefully next year you'll be able to meet Megan too. She couldn't make it because they had some family stuff going on, but Megan, she does the Fight Club for the bookkeeping and all that kind of stuff. And both of them are just really great people to get to know. And once you talk to them and you build that friendship, it's friendships for life. So it's great.
That's what I love about Into the Flow. You guys are so great and warm and welcoming. And I always tell people, join it and you will not be afraid to ask a question on there because nobody will make you feel bad about the question you ask. It's such a welcoming group. I love it.
Yeah. It's still fairly small comparatively to a lot of groups, but it does.
That's by design.
Yeah. It still gives it that more homey feeling.
Yeah.
And we see requests a lot that come through and it's like, oh, I don't think that's a window cleaner. That's probably either somebody that's going to want to cause trouble or wants to sell something. So,
yeah,
we'll deny that and we'll just, keep it small and intimate and that welcoming.
right.
No, there is no such thing as a dumb question mentality so that ultimately people can grow. So there's been some really great connections that have been made there.
Yeah.
And that's one of the fun things is to watch those people come in who are just starting out and to watch them grow. That's like one of the most rewarding things as a community that cares about the industry, to watch the new guy come in and, everybody kind of pitches in and gives a little bit of advice or, a little insight or some technique, some tips. And then you watch that person take off. It's like it's one of the best things in the world to be able to enjoy that part of it, to see the community raise someone up and kind of guide them along and then boom, let them go.
Yeah,
and
I've got somebody
they're
that's
successful
here that's actually doing that. Jamie Hellman, he's making the jump this year. He quit his full-time job and he's going full-time in window cleaning this year. And he and I have talked for several years. He was just doing it part-time while he worked at college, and we share a territory. So I cross over into his, he kind of crosses, not that we really have territories here. It's just where the work is at. If it's profitable, we'll take it, but we also share some work. We'll help each other out with bids and things like that. And he was supposed to come down this week and I just got so crazy busy. I got to leave at 5:30 in the morning for a business trip tomorrow for a couple days. And but next week he's coming down and we're specifically going to work on his pole work because he feels like, he's just not, he sent me some pictures of some windows and he's like, how would you do those? And I'm like, of course, with a pole. But I've been doing pole work since I can remember. That's just, we didn't have the big ladders and we didn't do roof drops.
I was gonna say he couldn't have found someone with a little bit more experience. Yeah,
Are you talking water fed pole?
He's got the right guy.
Pole?
He's got the right guy.
I'm talking about trad pole work.
Yeah.
But the higher stuff, not just your ground level or maybe 10 feet and down, but stairwell glass, second story in some cases where you have some of the higher stuff on the inside of houses and even some businesses that have some of that kind of stuff. So that's what he's going to come over and we're going to work on that so we can get him as proficient as he can. And it's great to see people like that making that leap, but having some confidence that they don't have to know everything because they know the right people,
Exactly.
and that they've got support. So that's one of the things that I've always said in business. You don't always have to have the right answer. You just need to know who does.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And the
Yeah,
humility to know
for
that
me,
you don't know.
Absolutely.
Yes, that's huge. Like one of my biggest personality flaws is I've always been a perfectionist, and you have this hesitation when you try something new. Like, well, I'm going to suck at that because I've never done it before. And as someone who tries to be a perfectionist, that mindset of so deterred and so scared of like trying something new because you're stuck at for the first time, but you have to get over that or you're never gonna. I mean, if you keep shying away, I hated doing pole work because I always felt like I trad pole work. I hated it because I felt like I sucked at it. So if I had gone and spent some time with Kevin or someone who does it and who is proficient at it and worked on it, but I was always so scared of looking like a failure with trying something new that I shied away from it. And that's a character flaw, but it's something you learn as you grow, that you can't get hung up on that. You're going to have to, go into some areas that you're uncomfortable with if you're going to grow. Because if you're never uncomfortable, you're never going to grow.
Yeah. And the thing with that kind of stuff is you really learn from the mistakes. So when you do it the wrong way, you're like, okay, now I don't want to do it that way again. And so you keep searching for what method works the best. I see those posts a lot. Well, what's the best way to do with what's the best for pole work? What's the best squeegee? It's just so subjective to how you feel as a person and what feels good in your hands and how you're working the glass. There's just so many different opportunities, but yeah, it can be tough because you want to be. My daughter now is that way because I was kind of that way that, okay, I want to get this right the first time. I'm like, look, here's the thing. It's just a window. You can re-wet it and start over. I had a guy when I was learning how to drywall one time with the mudding, I couldn't get it perfectly right. Like you were talking about, Kory. And he's like, you just sand it off and start again, man. It's not a big deal, and when you kind of put your mindset in that category, it's like, oh, okay, well, I'll just re-wet it and try it again. And the worst thing that I got to do is call Randy and get a maker sleeve that I can put a microfiber on and put that on the end of the pole and get up there and do extra detail work. That's the extent of it, so.
They do work good up for that, I'll tell you.
They do. They work amazing.
Yeah.
I love that for a little bit of extra detailing on the pole work.
Yeah. So speaking
really
of that,
that's such a great tool.
That's one of the lines that you have, Randy, that is awesome. I love what he's been able to do with all of his tools, and Richie has just got a mind for
he's always
thinking
that
stuff. Yep.
He's got a very inventive mind. And he's always looking at it from the window cleaner's perspective. And, just like his maker pole, what I love about that maker pole is everything's in front of you.
Yep.
You don't have really anything behind you. And when you're doing a tight little area, the last thing you need is your pole knocking things over behind you. It goes 8 or to 11 feet if you got the extension. But I know. And you know what I love about the maker, the handy sleeve is you could put, how you get your cobweb duster, but you don't want to use the same cobweb duster on the outside that you use on the inside. I use the handy sleeve and I put a clean towel on there and get the cobwebs down on the inside, and you could do the outside, but I don't know. It's very versatile.
Oh, it is for sure. Cause you can have the 6-inch and you can use that for smaller glass. And then you just peel that right off and stick a microfiber on it and go do detail work. If anybody that's watching, if you haven't tried the handy sleeve, you've got to try it. And I 100% agree on that, on that maker pole. It's the shortness, but then it goes out to where you need it to go. And even if you're doing storefront work, it can be really great, because one of the things that every time I would train somebody, one of the things on storefronts they would always mess up is they never could remember where the back end of their pole was. So they're on a busy sidewalk, and inevitably that pole would come down and right out, and I would have to stand behind them and okay, don't hit people, don't trip people. when you have that shorter version of that and you can just go to the height you need and then bring it down a little bit. Yeah, I love that pole. We use that for all kinds of stuff.
I guess I gotta put that on my spring wish list.
Oh yeah,
Window Magic spring wish list. I don't have the maker trad pole yet. I don't have
Maker Mini is.
But we were talking earlier about being frugal. We were going to be frugal this year, right? I'm not going to buy a 7th pole. My wife to be see another pole come in the mail and start giving me the eyes about buying another.
Yeah, but we also talked about being more efficient, and if you could be more efficient with that smaller pole, because you do a lot of residential where you're in tight spaces.
I'm going to have to sell that. I'm going to have to write that down right now.
Well, so
I'm going to write this down.
Randy, is this not the best pole that
Pardon me? Say that again.
Is this not one of the best investments that Kory could make this year?
I'm telling you, Kory, it is. I mean, for so many reasons. You could use it as a water fed. You could use it as a trad. And it's true. Everything's right in front of you. You're not whacking anybody, especially if you're in a house or you got mannequins behind you. You're in a storefront or any type of thing. You're not knocking anything over behind you.
One of the reasons I don't like bringing, especially the bigger pole that I have, I don't like, even if I break it down just a few sections to bring for interior work, the sections are too long. What I try to do is like put my pinky on the back, and then you're in a really awkward place if your backhand is like behind your body. Because I've dinged the wall, I've hit things with the back of that pole. So what I try to do is make sure I know where it's at. So then I'm standing in a really awkward position with my hand behind me. But the shorter section poles, like you said, right in front of you. I have what do I have? I have the Unger, I have the Tucker Storf SF9, I think, which is okay. The only thing I don't like about that pole is I use a lot of Unger tools, and the tip on that, you can't lock any tool onto it. So occasionally they'll come loose. Yep. And you'll be working and the tool fall off. So I also have the what was the little Unger Ninja box? What was that?
Oh, the transformer box.
Is that what it
was? I love that pole. Yeah.
I got that. I like that pole for short storefronts. It's really good for that, but it only fully extended. I don't think it's more than 5 feet.
No, it's 6 feet.
Is it 8?
I'm sorry, 6 feet. I think
6 feet. Yeah, it's pretty small. Yeah. So it has limitations there. So I don't like breaking down the sections of my bigger pole because the sections are too long, and that's awkward to use. The Tucker pole that I have that was specifically for trad work, I can't lock my tools on it unless I figure out a way to mount an Unger tip on that, which I'm sure you could probably do, but I'm not going to. On the SF9, the Tucker SF9.
Yeah, I don't think you can on that one.
I could tell you about that.
It's got a gold tip on it, but there's no locking mechanism for your tool. So it just nothing clicks on. I tried to pull that thing off. I warmed it up, tried to pull it off. I was getting, it was just tape it. You got to tape it, and then things stick a little bit better. Yeah. But it was just, that one was a little frustrating. So that's kind of just sat on the side for now, but I need something. So I guess I'm going to add that to my list.
So there you go. So now you can have.
Yeah, we found it.
You can start at when I started talking to Randy about that and end just before now and say, see, this is what we talked about. And they said, Kevin and Randy said that we really need to buy this pole. And here's the way we can be more efficient. And then I won't knock something over and have to buy it for somebody. And so there you go.
Or have a lawsuit on my hands.
I'll see if I can set up a hidden camera to catch the reaction when I say I'm buying a new pole. If I can get the facial expression, you guys will appreciate that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, those are always good. I've seen a couple of those videos. Those are great. So yeah, we're getting close to being in an hour here. So Randy, is there anything in particular that's new that you've got into the store that you think people would really enjoy?
Trying to think. I
know Mormon came out with a couple new things.
Mormon came out with a new bucket on a belt, so you could get 2 mops in there, or you could do like a wagtail or their Mormon flick pad with another mop, or you could sometimes you have your 6-inch mop and then you got your 14 or what have you. people are really liking that. And I'm trying, and then they have the fugu sleeve, which is the flick mop with the, you know, the little fibers on there to get the bee pollen. I'll tell you, if anybody wants to, do you guys get a lot of bee pollen? If anyone invents a bee pollen remover, they're going to make a lot of money. We have a huge
that and
problem.
artillery fungus. We get a lot of artillery fungus around here.
Yeah, we get that artillery. I don't get much bee pollen, but the artillery fungus around here is pretty bad.
Yeah,
I've never heard of artillery.
If it's really baked on, it's a little like black specks on the glass, like tiny little black specks, and they shoot out all over the side. I mean, you get them on the siding as well, up to 2 stories. It shoots up about 15 feet. It's annoying.
Yeah,
if it's really baked on, you're not going to.
Yeah, it's a fungus that grows like especially in flower beds.
In the mulch.
In the mulch. And they literally, if you ever Google it and watch they open and they just, and it's like an artillery shell, and it just explodes and shoots this stuff all over. It's crazy. Yeah, it's something.
Wow.
And it sticks to everything.
Little black specks all over. It sticks to the glass. And if you're, like I said, if you're on the sunny side of the house, it sticks. You have to scrape it. You can't, I mean, you can get it off with your fingernail if you're nose to glass, but if you have to blade it off or knock it off with your fingernail. A regular applicator, I mean, even I use the blue scrubby pad. Steel wool times you got to go pretty aggressive with that. You got to take a blade, and if it's on the siding, what a nightmare.
Oh,
you're not going to get it off power washing. You have to. I mean, it's piece by piece. You have to get it off. It's obnoxious.
Is it all year long, or is it just certain times?
It's usually spring.
Yeah.
Late spring, I would say.
Late spring, early summer.
Once the fungus, there's a couple different ways. I mean, one of the best ways to do it is to not put mulch in your beds because it grows in the mulch. So stone or a rubber mulch is a good way to kind of combat that. Or you can treat the mulch beds with, I mean, they say to spray. I've never tried this or know anybody who tried it, but somebody said to treat your mulch beds with bleach. And it kills the fungus before it has a chance to explode. But I've never tried that. It's just, I know that it's a nightmare once it is on a surface, especially siding. I mean, glass, you can easily take a blade and knock it off.
Yep.
If it's on siding, it's a nightmare.
Job security for us, though.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Let it blow up and let them call us to do that. So, well, thanks both of you for being on and sharing some insights with us. Hopefully everybody can take a few nuggets of information away, and we can all survive through who knows we've got coming. We made it through 2020. I'm sure we can make it through whatever's coming up, you know.
We're going to make it.
We're going to be okay.
We're gonna make
Thank you guys so much. It's such a joy.
Oh, absolutely.
To hang out with you guys.
Absolutely. And if you're looking for any new tools, jump on windowmagic.com and
windowmagicsupply.com.
Windowmagicsupply.com and check out what Randy's
got
in there.
Randy.
You could just call
her.
me,
Call her.
email me.
She's the best.
I love talking to people. So thank you guys so much.
Browse the website, but when you're ready to order, you call Randy. Have a nice conversation on the phone.
I'd love it. So thank you guys so much. Get some rest.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good one.
Bye-bye.
We'll see you.